Today's video is about an informative look at being a co-angler and what things that will help you be a better co-angler. I was a co-angler for many years before I decided to be on the front of the boat. I made the regional before as a co-angler, but here's a few things that you need to know to make you a better co-angler and catch fish behind the guy in the front of that boat. I once had a guy tell me the person walking to the boat makes him nervous if he's got 3 rods and one of them's got a jig on it, because he can pretty well say that that guy definitely is proficient at what's on those 3 rods versus a guy comes up with 10 to 15 rods and all bundled up. Point taken. That point taken. Here's some quick info. Carry about 5 rods, one being a spinning rod. Have a wacky rig tied on. Have a drop shot tied on. Have your other 3, maybe a 6th rod, but mainly have your other 3. One set up for crankbait, one set up for a spinner bait, and one or a jig or a Texas rig on the other 2, making 6. 6 should be the most rods you ever bring. Next thing is tackle bag. I can't begin to tell you how many tackle bags there are. I had the Kevin Van Dam small compact, held like 6 containers in it for lures, which was sufficient. And then they had bags on the side. I kept my soft plastics in. Excellent. And there's, I don't know, 10 versions of that you can use. And understand, you know, this sport, BFLs, okay, $100 entry fee, used to be $75. I believe the Bassmaster Opens, if you can get in one, is like $600. And I think Toyota Series with MLF is about the same. With all that in mind, when you start fishing, the best advice I can tell you is, now unless you've been fishing high school or college on teams, which then you're going to have some of that experience, is to join a bass club. Couple things. One, you get to meet other anglers. It becomes a good, if it's a good club, good group of guys. Join the club, learn to, you know, as you fish with some of them as a co-angler, you learn different things. Prime example, in the club I was fishing with a Killer B1 with Paul Klutz way back in the day, in the 70s, late 70s. He was throwing the same bait and I was throwing the same bait. He was catching them, I wasn't catching them. Very frustrating. He told me he'd tell me at the end of the day what was different. So at the end of the day, he told me. He changed the hook out. He changed the stock hook out in the back of the bait to being a larger hook, which changed the wobble and action of the bait. And they just wouldn't touch mine, but it was his. Learn and experience, correct, as a co-angler. Another one, my first, actually it was called Redman before it was FLW, and then it became MLF. Back in the Redman days, my first experience as a co-angler, I drew John Wright. He was a Navy corpsman like myself. He he took me under his wing a little bit, and he said, "Have you ever fished? Is there a spook?" And I said, "No, I've got one. I really haven't put a lot of effort into it yet." He said, "Well, I'll just tell you one thing. You know who Basil Bacon is?" I said, "Yeah, isn't he the guy that made There a Spook, designed it?" He said, "Yep. And he's the one that taught me, and I'm fixing to teach you." So he said, "I know a smallmouth place who is on Kentucky Lake we will run to, and I'm going to show you how to fish it." And I learned how to fish it, and then I applied that to using my chug bug, and ain't no telling how many fish I've caught using that whole technique, from Is There a Spook, learning to walk the dog. There again, co-angler, learning, so understand, one, can't throw in front of the pro. Okay, there's I say sometimes there's a dividing line where half the back of the boat's yours, the front of the boat's his. It gets a little frustrating when you can be in situations that's not really cool. I was on the Everstart tournament at Sam Rayburn as a co-angler. Back in the day, the chartreuse zoom lizard was a big thing that just came out on Kentucky Lake. We were wearing them out on it, and I drew a guy on day one down there, and I had a Carolina rig, and I had like almost 8 pounds in the boat in about 4 casts, and he started stressing the guy on the front of the boat. So he went to fish. They were on beds. He took his nitro boat and busted his way through buckbush and stopped, and in front of him was about 4 or 5 beds, and guess where I got to fish? I got to fish where he just busted through. Kind of a very aggravating situation, since I already had 2 nice keepers averaging almost 4 pounds, and after the first day I was in 31st place. Next day I drew somebody didn't know dooley do about anything, and so that's where I didn't do any good after that. So as a co-angler, you can have frustrating moments, and much more of that. I was very frustrated. It's as frustrated as I've been. Anyway, but understand this. Watch, learn, take it. If you there's several guys that are good anglers. Hopefully they'll be ordinary anglers, who will show you things, who will teach you things about everything. Sometimes, guess what? The guy on the back of the boat's catching them, and the guy on the front of the boat has to say, what's actually you caught, how many on what? And have been known to have to do that in order to start catching fish. It's all what the fish tell you they want. But like I said, pack light, pack smart, do your homework. A whole nother issue. Before you even talk to your partner, before you do anything, get on the internet. Google the fishing reports of the body of water you're about to fish. Check out what they're biting. Some people will say what they're biting. Some people you can trust. Some people you can't. Anyhow, then refine it. Of course, you're not going to have, you're not going to get to tell the pro where the boat is. And if you can practice with some pro or somebody, that's good too, prior to the tournament. But here's another issue: ethically, let's just say you go fish with a pro, and you get on a spot, and oh my goodness, you are hammering them, and you're saying, wow, man, and you know where it is, right? Well, you can't go there. You just can't. It's not right. You shouldn't go there. That pro may be boat number 80 and you may be boat number 4. If you tell your pro where his spot is, that is like, that may get you disqualified, but it's wrong altogether. Wrong. Just wrong. Ethics. That guy on the front of the boat on a Bassmaster Open, remember, you just get 3 as a co-angler in a Bassmaster Open. He's paid $1,800, $1,600, whatever, close to that. Same way on a Toyota Series. A lot of money, a lot of gas, a lot involved being on the pro side. So, he's trying to get somewhere he needs to get, and that's one, to either make it to the elites, win the Bassmaster Classic, whatever. You shouldn't be a hindrance to him, okay? You shouldn't hinder the pro, because he's got a lot at stake. But understanding, you got money invested too as a co-angler. You got your entry fee, you have your expenses also. And talking about expenses, gas being so high, be sure and help your pro out. Some people pay $300 or $400 for a guide trip, if you get what I'm getting at. So make sure you take good care of him on some of the gas expense. It helps quite a bit. Anyway, so we're back to, so you've decided to be a co-angler, you've decided to put the money down, and you've done your homework, you get your partner. There's a lot of things you need to ask your partner, questions you need to ask. Are we fishing shallow? Are we fishing deep? Do we have a long run? Just sort of simple questions. He may not want to tell you everything, but then again, he may be a all right guy. Some guys could care less about you, just to be honest. They're in it and they don't care about the co-anglers. But I've been a co-angler, and I feel you from the back of the boat, and I try to help my co-anglers as much as I can help myself. But anyhow, so you've come a long way. You have to make the jump from the club, laying down the money. Of course, some clubs, you got plenty of money to lay down too. I'm a member of the Fayette County Bass Club, and they are a really good club. I've been president of FedEx Bass Club. I've been back in the day. Been doing this a long time, and today's tip I got from Mikey Blass, something the pros don't like to show you. But today's tip is a new kind of scent. Not sponsored by it. We're going to try it out this weekend. Called Bait Fuel. I found out about this. Apparently the pros are using it. It's not spread out well known, because I don't think the pros want anybody to know about it, to be honest. So I ordered it off of Amazon, put some in the bag, let it marinate, and maybe it'll make a difference. Maybe it'll give you that one bite you need. I don't know. We're fixing to find out, because I've used Bang for years, and basically it tells you to do the same thing as with either I would spray some in my soft plastic bag, or it tells you to do that with this bait fuel also. Anyway, I hope, remember, you're fishing behind somebody. Sometimes you downsize into small baits, drop shots, shaky head. Those are the things that you can catch guys behind when they're throwing some big bait. Maybe that day the fish don't want a big bait. Sometimes you have to finesse it. And so sometimes finessing from the back pays off. So with that in mind, well, here was today's tip. Here was ex-co-angler trying to give some advice for future co-anglers and future guys that'll eventually, hopefully, you'll learn what I did and you'll end up being on the front of the boat. You know, it's an expensive sport. Anyhow, like and subscribe, and I want y'all to have a great fishing weekend. I want you to have a great day. God bless. And we're out of here.